Got with me here Mike Stark, CEO of Arizona Gold and Silver, AZS.V, on the venture. This is going to just be a quick hit update for Mike to walk us through some recent news and its significance, because there has been some pretty exciting news come out. Mike, so yeah, thanks for coming by again. Nice to chat with you again. Why don't you just take a moment here and just kind of set the table for us and talk us through this financing, this news release that just came out.
Be glad to, and thanks for the opportunity to be here, Matt. We obviously have quite an exploration story happening and developing here. And I've been working with the one individual in Sprott for approximately 3 years now. This gentleman has been to the site, and I believe it's the appropriate and the right time to engage them. So I made the call. And very fortunately, we were directed to a couple of the fund managers on a couple of interviews. And that took a span of about 3 weeks. And several Zoom calls, which we conducted, thanks with Greg doing the PowerPoint presentation and what he sees from the geology side. We were overwhelmed with a response, and as we noted, we had an $850,000 lead order. And immediately upon that, I canvassed our local and President's Club, like what I like to call it, that we were going to do another financing, and were they interested? And my gosh, honestly, Matt, our existing shareholders are incredible. They not only stepped up, they exceeded my expectations. And then before we knew it, we were told that Rick Rule was going to come in. So very, very fortunate. This is not easy times out there, but I think, and I'm being careful, the vision has been shared by so many people of what we see as a potential here. And it came in very, very well. We oversubscribed to 4.6 million.
And I want to get into, you've had success in previous drill campaigns, but you still were kind of, nevertheless, still kind of scratching around the edges of what you were really hoping to do. And we can get into BLM permitting and all that jazz we'll get to. But and the timing is so right, and I'm sure that's what Sprott and Rick Rule saw as well. Maybe just a quick follow-up on Rick Rule, because that's obviously a big name to come into a financing, and that carries a lot of weight. But how did that happen? Was that just your own network of people that came across his desk, or who reached out to who to get him involved?
No, that was actually done by Sprott. Okay, so the initial order, obviously I'm going out over my skis here, but I would believe, obviously, that information was passed on to Rick. Rick obviously poured through it, made his own evaluation, probably asked questions. There was no questions directed at me. I do have his personal email, and I've only exchanged one. And lo and behold, I got notified by the fund that he was coming into this placement. So yeah, I look forward to the day that we can get a chance. We've talked in the past, but it's not related to business. It was just, I saw him at shows and various other things. Conferences, I guess, is the best word. But more importantly, it's a real delight to have him on. And I know that this is something that I can say quite flattery. He doesn't come in just to every deal. He comes into selected deals. So I'm very fortunate. We are very fortunate, more importantly.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's kind of obvious. I think anybody who's approached your story understands, and this is kind of an emerging narrative for your story. I mean, timing is everything, and the timing is right for this, right? And so you raised, and just as testament to that, I mean, you won for $3 million. You came in with 4.6 million. Very nicely oversubscribed. It wasn't agonizing to get closed. It was open and shut in a couple of weeks. And I guess full disclosure, I mean, I participated in that one, so I want to make clear on that. So I mean, yeah, it is obviously there's a large appetite for your company. Maybe just for people to understand where this is going, and we'll transition to what you're going to do with this money here in a second. But you're obviously exploring. We'll talk about that. Previous interviews we discussed this. But how much does drilling cost? Just as an update, so people can kind of start to do that napkin math about what you just raised.
Sure. The company will no longer be doing RC drilling because of the depths that we'll be going to. So that, unfortunately, is going to cost more. That cost now is in the neighborhood of about $150 a foot, and that is all in cost. So that includes the lab, prep work, delivery, sampling, everything that goes into that is going to be $150 a foot. And I'm hoping we can actually go under budget there. But again, until we actually see what goes on, so far we've been very successful in all our campaigns. We've always come in a little under budget, whether that's through efficiency the weather, doesn't matter. We've been very fortunate, and I hope that trend continues. The objective of this money is actually, as we've stated, to test the Red Hills, where we believe the heat source of all this mineralization is coming from.
And there it is.
There she is.
And,
yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful thing, eh? Why don't we, I mean, I'll just get you, I mean, for people that are new to the story, you're coming across it for the first time, just a quick review. In the Oatman District, right, we're looking at the Philadelphia property. Do you just want to maybe just briefly run us through that as well?
This is just emerging right now, and it's going to be, I think, a real focus for some majors. And the reason I emphasize on that, the two mills which you see here on the slide, the Gold Road and the Moss Mine, are both now under care and maintenance, simply because there's not enough mill feed to feed them. This district is absolutely ripe for the picking, as far as we see it as a team, that we have the material, we have the supply for many, many years to either one of those mills or both, because the Gold Road would be more happy with high grade and the Moss Mine would be happier with our 1 and 2 gram material. We've gone as far, actually, Matt, to design, thanks to some suppliers, conveyor belt system to the Moss Mine. Now, this is resonating to people because, again, you don't have to wait for a permit. You don't have to wait for the BLM and the permitting process for all the stuff that would take 6 to 10 years to have happen. That processing plant can do 8,000 tons per day. That's a beautiful feed, and it's a relatively new plant. I think it's about 5.5 years old. Now, if we were to start building a plant on our Philadelphia property, we would be looking at 6 to 10 years to have it fully permitted with all the necessary requirements. In this way, you can actually start trucking material maybe as soon as 2 to 3 years. And again, I don't want to promise any of this because it's a BLM and it's permitting, so you never really know what you're dealing with until you get your answers back, as we've seen. But this is really looking interesting for a lot of the majors right now. And we've picked up 3 more CEAs on our company, and I'm not suggesting that any one of these guys are going to act on it, but there's certainly significant interest. So the district, this is the largest producing gold district in Arizona, and we happen to have a very emerging discovery.
Well, and you know, I was actually just for a different project, I was writing out, and then it ballooned into multiple pages, and I had to stop. But you know, my checklist of what I look for in a company when I conduct my due diligence, and infrastructure, and you know, permitted operating mines in the area, and especially that need for feed, right? That develops when these things start to run dry on their own. I mean, that's a huge part of it. So I mean, yeah, you yourself have that prospectivity that you should be looking for, that potential for serious growth. And you know, like you say, you don't, having to permit and build your own mill could be hundreds of millions of dollars in half a decade. But in the neighborhood, right, 3 or 4 miles as the crow flies due south, you have a very large and hungry mill, right, on care and maintenance. So yeah,
actually,
point
I'll
well
be
made.
Specific. It's 6.7.
Okay, okay, pardon me. I stand corrected.
Designing the actual conveyor belt, we had to be specific, and that's what it turns out to. 6.7 miles away.
Yeah, great.
And again,
yeah,
this is doable. We actually did the math. They've done the math on what it would construct and cost. It's very attractive.
Yeah, excellent. So why don't we then transition into, I mean, so, you know, we've established you're cashed up, you're in a good location, and we kind of did a little sneak peek here of Red Hill, right? But the point here is that this is a very high impact campaign for you guys because of what you're drilling. So why don't you just run us through, you know, quick recap or reminder for people just why this is such a significant drill campaign for you, for Arizona.
Absolutely. We are testing what we believe is the heat source or the mineralization to the system. And as it's shown on your slide that you're showing now, that red blob is the Red Hills. And we have strong evidence, and we've indicated that in drilling, that the heat source has literally flowed out. And as it's flown out along the Arabian Fault, it's allowed the material to come to the surface, exposing the vein, which we have been drilling consistently for 1.6 kilometers now, without significant misses. It's been very, very strong. We have, on the back of a napkin, some really nice numbers indicating how many ounces we have already. If this is the heat source, this could really change the dynamics and the numbers that we are actually going to be able to show. So yeah, this is extremely important, but I'm also going to make a point of if it's not likely because of the results that we've hit before, but we still have 1.5 kilometers to the south with that vein exposing. So there's no end to this at this point. There's a tremendous amount of upside still. And I'll dive into that a little bit more. There's another slide that I'd like to show, and we will, I hope, on just exactly what more potentially lies here, and it's being worked on now. So again,
well, let's jump over to that. We'll hop back to Red Hill, but let's talk about blue sky here for a second. Okay. I'll give you the opportunity to.
And again, let's emphasize that this is blue sky, but it's strong potential. The Astra anomaly you can see on the silicone deposit on the far left is mirror image of what we're drilling right now. We secured about 2.5 years ago an additional land package, as you can see further on your right-hand side in that purple envelope. That has got the same signature, the same alterations as we do have that we're currently drilling. We are going to start work on that. Kathy, one of our newest advisors, absolutely dynamite in the field. She loves this. She's like, oh my God, you guys have got to get over here. So, I mean, the team wants to see it too, but you walk before you run, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. But you want to see upside potential? Hey, we've got people that are talking to us under a CA, and they see the same thing. So I'm flattered about it, but at this point, you're going to start seeing some development work being done on it. And believe me, I'd love nothing more to put a hole in it in the right spot to confirm that we have far more here than we know now.
Well, and as you say, it's blue sky, but as you say, that alteration footprint, I mean, you need scale to find scale, to have scale. I mean, I'm excited for Red Hill. I'm excited to see that drill campaign, which is imminent when we'll get to that, which is, as you say, kind of the smaller chunk here, but also kind of that tantalizing thing that, as success develops here, knock on wood, so to speak, as you say, you can kind of start to turn your attention eastward to a much larger alteration and just see what sort of things lie beneath the surface there as well. But why don't we, let's, Red Hill, this drill campaign cashed up for it, right? That's the focus, and rightfully so. It's an exciting thing. I mean, the part of the issue here is for people. I mean, I'll take this opportunity, and Mike, you correct me where you need to. But the BLM permitting is what delayed Arizona from being able to hit this heart of the system, right? That they were dealing with the fringes, the dissemination, right? The veins that were working outside of it. But now, finally, for the first time ever, able to actually get into the source of everything, right? Hence the Red Hill. So why don't you, Mike? Do you want to actually? Let's get to. I think I like this one, right? So there's your BLM pad. You just kind of want to walk through what we're looking at here for people.
By all means. So as you can see with the previous holes, they're on the website, by the way, and they do give grades all the way down, so you can see what we're looking at. On average, 74 meters of 1.44 grams. We see that this is actually increasing in depth and starting to level off in the top, which would give us larger intercepts. That's yet to be proven, but this is what we see. The other thing I'd like to point out is the CSAMT backdrop in here. You'll see those lines of indication. Well, we'll go back one if we could.
Okay. All right. Okay.
There we go. In behind the lines of drill lines, you'll see that red blob, a little, contour is in behind. Exactly. So what we did is we ran a CSAMT line, and it's telling us this is where it is. And they believe, even the people that ran the test said, this is going to be significant. This is where I believe you're right. This is where the heart is. So we're going to go in proceeding down to 1,000 feet. The beauty, as I've always said, is we have Greg and Mark on the drill. If they still like what they see at 1,000 feet, we're going to continue. So there really is no figure other than we will drill until we realize it's no longer there. And hopefully that continues beyond 1,000 feet, because that would even increase the amount of mineralization and the length of these drill holes to magnificent numbers, really.
Absolutely. And I'll skip ahead to this one that I was a little premature getting to,
Yeah.
just so people can kind of see the, your diagram and your conceptual sort of cross section here. But this is what's happening here. And this is why we're so excited about this drill campaign.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe there's my transition. I mean, like I say, we'll try to keep this quick for people, but, drill campaign updates, anything you can provide for us in terms of timing or kind of updates or events that are occurring behind the scenes?
I can promise you this, there will be no grass under our feet for the next 6 to 8 months. But I will comment on it, actually, Matt. Yeah. Look, we are already signed agreement with a driller. You'll see news no later than Tuesday next week. I won't go any farther than that, but only because I'm not allowed to. But honestly, I couldn't be happier. Things are falling into place so beautifully right now, as they should, right? But it's also, hey, we've got a team now, and it's built up a bit more than what we had about 4 months ago. And everybody's on the same page. Not only did they participate in the financing, but they're excited. I've got numerous emails back and forth, and I love the interaction on this team. They're a great bunch. Right on down to Tim with the IT and Kathy doing the secretarial and financing on this last secretarial side of it. Holy smokes. That girl hasn't had a day off in 8 days, and I'm hoping she gets one soon, but she just told me this morning she's working through the filings through the weekend again. And I'm like, oh my God. But it's incredible to see the participation, but it's also so beautiful to see everybody working together. Like, it's a cohesive team, and I really, really enjoy that. With respect to that slide on the right-hand side, I love this slide because it shows this was an old volcano. And as it erupts, you could see there was a fluid source through the middle of it. Well, that fluid carried the mineralization, and that's what we're going to drill into. So really simplified for everybody, myself included. I look at rocks and I'm going, hey, man, I'm only dangerous because I can throw them. And Greg looks at this and goes, oh, that was 155 degrees, and this was in 190. I'm like, okay. But truly, this is a really simplified version. This is where we're going to drill. And we hope we drill into the throat of it, where the mineralization should be not only the thickest, but the strongest in grade as well.
Excellent. So, I mean, classic question here, maybe to end off or to approach the ending. Meterage, what's your hoped for drill campaign size here right now?
We've put that out already, and we've stated that those 4 holes, providing they're successful, and I believe they will be, we'll continue with 4 more. And then we'll switch over to pad 2, which is already in the press release. That pad work is going to be completed. Then we will step over there and continue on from what hole 91 produced. Some of our best grades ever were drilled hole 91 and 97, and go down depth there. This pad for 40 holes has allowed us to go deeper into the flow dome than we've ever seen before, giving us the opportunity. 1,400 feet, I guess, is what we can do, providing the mineralization is still there.
So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a very fluid campaign, just as you discover what's there. Just not to put you on the spot, but meterage 5,000, 10,000, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I would go 4 to 5 for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, decent campaign. And
the reason I'm a little hesitant, not that I'm afraid to put my name out on it, is we might drill 1,200 feet on one hole and 600 feet on another. So it's going to be a moving target. And I'm going to take back 600. I'm going to say 800 minimum. But what if we go down to 14, right? This is where it changes up a little bit. And believe me, I'd love nothing more to report in 3 months, 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time, that we had to go down to 1,600 feet. Wouldn't that be a delight?
Good news, eh? Yeah. Honestly, Mike, unless I'll give you the opportunity to have the final word here. Is there something that I missed that you wanted to touch on before we say goodbye?
Again, I got to go back to the fact that this team, I couldn't be prouder, and I couldn't be happier to see how things are going. Shareholders are going to be well informed. Obviously, we've got a long runway, longer than we were anticipating with only 3 million. Now with 4.6, we're going to go a lot further down the road, Matt. We're going to be able to do things that we weren't able to do with a restricted budget of 3 million. I mean, it's really simple, but my true and honest point is I hope we can have through the lab one hole of the first drill campaign for Christmas. That is my goal. I would love nothing more to report on a very nice hole prior to Christmas and give everybody that satisfaction that this is now fact, and away we go.
Nice little Christmas gift, eh?
Yeah,
no,
that would be a great one.
There you go, eh? No, timing is everything. I think that's the moral of the story here. Good projects, the right time, stars are aligning, planets are aligning, and this is what I'm excited for. So yeah, Mike Stark, Arizona Gold and Silver, AZS.V. Mike, thanks for your time, and I'm sure we'll be checking in again soon.
I look forward to that, and thank you for your coverage as well. I really enjoy your show. Thank you.